Hey there, everyone. So glad that you can join me today for our study through the book of Ephesians. I've been walking through this book verse by verse, trying to bring out some devotional material that I believe can be encouraging and edifying to our Christian lives. If you remember, we're talking about how Paul is writing a letter to the church in Ephesus. He's writing to encourage them. That's why I believe that this book can be so encouraging to the church today and to God's people today, because this was written for encouragement. This was written for edification. This was written for a people who were struggling, a church that Paul had planted, who knew about his imprisonment, and they were struggling with that. And if you remember, we talked about how Paul realized that that prison was where God had him for that season for the glory of God. And as hard as it was, he knew that God had him there for that season, so he was trying to encourage the church. So last time we were talking about the riches of his grace. I talked about how he lavished it upon us in all wisdom and insight. How can you measure the riches of God's grace? You can't measure those riches. They're riches beyond what we can imagine. And God uses riches because we understand riches. We understand poverty. We understand rich. And this makes sense to most cultures and many people throughout the world, that there are riches. But there's something that's so much richer than the riches of this world, and that's the riches of his grace. And God is so gracious to lavish upon us in all wisdom and insight. So today we're going to pick up in verse 9, where it says, making known to us the mystery of his will, according to his purpose, which he set forth in Christ. Praise be to the living God for his word. Making known to us the mystery of his will. What do you think about when you hear that word mystery? I think many of us think about mystery novels. We think about something that's mysterious and dark, or something that we can't really see. It hasn't been revealed. But this is very different, I believe. This kind of mystery that is unfolding that Paul is talking about. And we'll hear more and more about this throughout the book of Ephesians, about this mystery. And Paul will even come right out and say what this mystery is. But I really want to focus on the fact what so much of this book is about. And it says, according to his purpose, which he set forth in Christ. So this is God. This is a book about what God is doing, how God is working, and how God is bringing a people to himself. How God is redeeming a people, adopting a people to himself. This is according to his purpose, God's purpose. And he set forth his purpose in Christ. And that is such good news. Because for most people who are lost and do not know God, you don't really think about what is God's purpose. You probably don't think much about a God out there that loves you, a God who wants to adopt you into his family. But there is something amazing about this mystery, about God's purpose, about what he has done through Christ to save lost people like myself and many of you out there. If you don't know this great God, I can tell you that he is full of grace. He is a gracious God, willing to lavish his grace upon you in all insight. He wants this mystery to be made known. The mystery that God has revealed through Christ, that all people can know God. All people can put their faith in Jesus Christ and be forgiven of their sins and be adopted into God's family. I pray today for you, if you are lost, if you are out there and you're hearing this message, I pray that you would come to know what this mystery is, that it won't be hidden from you. It won't be hidden from you forever, that one day you would come to believe in this living God. If you are a believer today, I encourage you with this idea that there is a plan, there is this purpose that God has set forth in Christ. Continue to persevere, continue to press in your faith, because God is faithful, God is gracious, God will help you, and God is a great God. Be encouraged today. God bless you.